I love football. I love almost everything about football. There's one thing I don't like, and that is the sexism. Like, obviously, that's a little bit difficult. Because there's still a certain type of bloke that seems to think that, like, I can't know as much about football as he can, right? It's like he doesn't think I've got time to both watch Match of the Day and buy sanitary products. But the key thing about that is you stockpile in the summer. So you're ready for when the season starts in the winter. I love these guys, though. I call them the proper footballing geezers. You've probably seen them knocking around. They're big guys, massive fucking heads, big thick neck veins where they store all of their repressed emotions. Weirdly, they're always very active on Twitter for some reason. And they'll always have a Twitter handle which is like @MillwallMike69. And then you'll click onto their Twitter profile and their bio will always say something like, "Love my kids, hate nonces." And you're sort of thinking, come on, Mike, pick a side. I love these guys, though, because they've recently found me on social media. And what they love doing is they love doing sassy little snarky comments underneath my stand-up videos. And they do these sort of sick burns. And there's a phrase that I've sort of started noticing recently that they're all using. So what they've all said under my stand-up videos is this phrase. They say, "Lewis Capaldi looks like he's let himself go." Which pisses me off, because Lewis Capaldi's already let himself go. I think what they're trying to do by comparing me to a plus-sized man is to imply that I'm ugly. It doesn't bother me as an insult. Honestly, it doesn't bother me as an insult. I know that I'm ugly. Not in a self-deprecating way, just in the way that all British people are ugly. Do you know this? You are absolutely vile. I'm sorry if you don't know this, you're absolutely vile, OK? And I didn't know this until recently when I started travelling outside of the UK in the last couple of years. Everything they say about us is true. Okay? But it's not your fault. The reason that we're ugly is because, and I'm specifically talking about white British people here, I don't want to draw anyone else into our ugly mess. The reason that we're ugly is because back in the day, the Vikings came over, stole all of our hot women, took them back to mainland Europe, which is why everyone in Sweden is smoking hot, and we look like someone put a wig on some Billy Bear ham. But it had an amazing reaction, because it meant that we had to develop great personalities. Because you never heard someone go, "This is my Swedish friend, he's a laugh." So I would say that I'm British hot, which is ugly but a hoot. So I love football, as I say, and I kind of get these blokes that are a bit toxic, because football makes me toxic too. I do worry about my toxicity, though. Like, I've got a girlfriend now, and I don't let her watch me watch the football, because she saw me watch the football once, it almost ruined our relationship before it even started. So what happened was, she came into the living room, she said to me, "Chloe, why are you laughing?" And I had to explain that Chelsea had just gone 3-2 down, and the camera had panned to a crying child.
I hated teaching, and it's a brilliant, wonderful, noble profession, obviously, teaching. I hated it because I didn't want to do it. The only thing that got me through those years were children, because some of you parents will know, children are wonderful and weird. I used to teach a class in North London. You'll think I'm exaggerating this. I'm not. This is just one class I'm talking about. They were the strangest group of human beings I have ever seen assembled in one place, right? They were the strangest group of human beings ever in one. I include all of the series of Big Brother in that. Right, I'll talk you through some of them. There was a child called Marwood in that class, which isn't a real name, let's be honest. He was absolutely on a different planet to the rest of us. I'll prove it. I once said to him, "Marwood, what are you going to do when you leave school?" Straight away, he said, "Well, I'm going to be one of two things, sir. I'm going to be a gynecologist or a train driver." I said, "They're rather contrasting professions, Marwood. This is only funny if you believe me wasn't trying to be funny at this point." He went, yeah, they are, aren't they, sir? I suppose at the end of the day, I just like tunnels." Fortunately, there was a child in that class that made up for all of them. Her name was Karen Powell. She was my favourite student of all time. She was 11 years of age, this big, and had two fascinating characteristics. Number one, her internal compass was buggered, right? So she was 10 minutes late to every single lesson, and the school wasn't that big. 10 minutes late. The second was, even though she was 11, she spoke, for reasons best known to our creator, like a repressed 1940s housewife. And you think I'm exaggerating this, I am not exaggerating it. She would come into my class like this, "Hello, sir, how are you today?" I say, "I'm fine, thanks, Karen. How are you?" She goes, "Yes, I'm very well, thanks." I say, "I'm very much looking forward to today's improvisation." I'll give you an example of her compass. She came to see me after a lesson. This is all verbatim quote. She went, "Excuse me, sir, can I have a word with you, please?" And of course you can, Karen. What's the problem? Because I just wanted to say that I thought my performance in your lesson today was a little below par. I said, "Really? I thought you were great." No, I thought my use of characterization was paper thin. Thought the way I moved around the space was appalling. And my group work was something to be condemned, and I would like to offer you my most humble of apologies. I said, "You listen to me, Karen, pal. You never need to apologise to me. You are my favourite pupil because you make me laugh my head off. Now go outside and enjoy your lunchtime. You've deserved it." She said, "You know what? I think I will." I turned round at that point to do a little bit of admin, ladies and gentlemen. Karen was then faced with a choice. She could leave my room via the only exit, or she could go into my costume cupboard. I don't know what happened, but for safety, I'll tell you this. I locked my costume cupboard before I went for my lunch, then I went away for a whole hour. When I came back, I opened the cupboard, and I swear to you, that child was standing with her back to me in a scene from the Diddy Man remake of the Blair Witch Project, just doing this. And I went, "Karen?" She went, "Hello, sir." I said, "Have you been in there for a whole hour?" She said, "I'm rather afraid I have." I said, "Oh my God, I am so sorry." She said, "Don't you apologise to me. I've only got myself to blame. I'll see you later."
But here's the thing about being married a very long time. You get to know each other so well, right? I mean, my husband knows me well. I know my husband so well at this point that we can have a full-blown argument from start to finish, and he's not even home. You know? So, this year, I have been married 21 years. Thank you. Thank you. I know it looks like I could have been a child bride, which, where I'm from, totally possible. Anyway, I wasn't a child bride. Anyway, so 21 years. And here's what I've learned in 21 years. That to stay married and stay happy, because it's not naturally the same thing, to stay married and stay happy, what you must do is keep your focus on what is important. Keep your focus on what is important. Let everything else fall away. See, I'll explain. The other day, my husband and I were having an argument, a face-to-face one, the one where he's actually at home. So we're having an argument, and, well, I mean, I say argument. The fact is, after 21 years, my husband and I don't really have arguments. We have throwdowns. You know, throwdown, like MMA level. Do you know what MMA is, sir? Yeah, marriage martial arts. Proper MMA, no matter what the topic, my husband and I both always bring it for everything. Because we know that after 21 years and 3 kids, nobody's fucking going anywhere. Right? We are just trying to get to the end of this somehow. And also, you should know, like I told you, when I arrived here, I got a UK passport. My husband is Scandinavian. He didn't bother. And then we were having this argument, and he was like, "I don't understand why you didn't do it this way." And I said, "Really, what I don't understand is why you don't fuck off back where you came from." Apollo, I cannot lie to you, it felt pretty good. Oh my God, what a great phrase. I am totally on board with it now. Knock yourselves out. Such a good feeling it gives you afterwards, you know? The problem was it bothered our children a little bit because we were having lunch. It was Sunday. Our youngest child, she said, oh no, Mama said the F word. And I said, oh darling, you're right, I did. But you know what? When you grow up and meet the man of your dreams, so will you. And then my teenage son said something, but let me explain, ladies and gentlemen. Between 45 to 85% of what this child says, I don't understand. Because he's a teenager. He just looked at me and said, why so salty, bro? And then our middle child, apart from being somewhat fractured, she's also very woke. By which I mean, she doesn't understand the difference between racism and a joke about racism. So she got very upset and she said, you can't say that to Dad, that's racist. I said, racist? Look at my face. I can't be racist. Everybody knows only white people are racist. Oh, she got angry. She stomped out of the room. And I was like, oh, come on, darling. Sorry, it was a joke. I know, you're half white. Oops.
I started learning French really young at the age of 8 or something in primary school. And our French teacher, to help it sink in our brains, used to play little games with us. And one of the games was that we had to draw a name out of the hat, and that would be our French name for the rest of term, yeah? So I withdrew Marcel, and she taught me that if anyone ever asked the question, comment tu t'appelles, my response should be, je m'appelle Marcel, right? Now, I got all the way to degree level and 2 trips to Paris with that knowledge, and no one ever corrected me. And I went in on my first day of the lecture, and the professor goes, bonjour, comment tu t'appelles? I thought, well, this is going to be a very easy course. I went, bonjour, je m'appelle Marcel. He's like, no, comment tu t'appelles? And I went, je m'appelle Marcel. He's like, no, comment tu t'appelles? And I went, je m'appelle Marcel. He's like, no, comment tu t'appelles? I went, je m'appelle Marcel. He's like, no, comment tu t'appelles? I was like, je m'appelle Marcel. He's like, no, comment tu t'appelles? I went, je m'appelle Marcel. He's like, no, comment tu t'appelles? I went, je m'appelle Marcel. He's like, no, comment tu t'appelles? And I went, what is wrong with you? You said you were French. I went, je m'appelle Marcel. He's like, no, comment tu t'appelles? What is your name? I was like, je m'appelle Marcel. My name is Stephen. So educated. And as part of our course, yeah, we had to do a year abroad. Hold on. Gap year. We did, Jimmy. We had to do a year abroad, right? So I moved to the south of France for a year, and I'm dating myself with this reference, I do know. But I thought it would be like a Hilary Duff film, right? Do you know where I'd like move to the south of France, get a job in a little boulangerie, fall in love, move into the guy's chateau, and never have to come and perform in Hammersmith? Do you know what I mean? And me and my friends all had a bit of a dream. Like my friend Kate, she's married to a guy now called Florent and lives in Nice. That was my dream, bitch. My friend Sam got with a guy while we were there, and his name was Nicolas. And I even got with a guy while we were there for one term, and his name was Kevin. It wasn't even Kevin. I went all the way to the south of France and found the only guy from Stockport. Just called me Sally Webster. And the thing I hated the most about doing that year abroad was I don't like flying. Give me a cheer if you like flying. Give me a cheer if you don't like it. Yeah, all the ones sat in the sky. I really hate it, yeah, because everyone's like it's the safest form of transport, but that's not true, is it? Because speak to someone that's been in a crash. And that is valid. That is really valid. And I've had to find my way of getting round it. You need hints, tricks, don't you? So my therapist said you just need to sit on the plane doing this. I get thrown off the plane if I do that, Julie. And the way I've been trying to get round it, hear me out, you're going to think I'm mad, right? Do you know sometimes when you look at someone and you think, like Aaron, I look at you and I go, you would never die in a plane crash. You've got that kind of face, you know, it's like, you're not going to go that way. Whereas some people, they've got that face where it's like, have you already been in one? And I flew to Dublin this year, and it was the best flight I'd ever had, right? Because I found someone like you, Aaron. I found someone. Peter Barlow from Coronation Street was on the flight. And I thought, Peter Barlow's not going to die in a Ryanair flight. He's already been through too much.
Do you remember years ago when they were making Braveheart? Everyone said, oh, it's ridiculous. Mel Gibson playing a Scottish guy. That's not going to be very convincing. And look at him now. An alcoholic racist. The most Scottish thing I've ever seen, I was going through a town called Bathgate at night, and there was a guy pissing against a front door, like that, who then took out his keys and went inside. I'm from Glasgow. If I had to explain Glasgow to you, I'd say that if I had to pick a city in the world where I could depend on a member of the public to punch a man who was on fire, to punch a flaming man to the ground. We should get a photo of that blown up and use it as the welcome sign at Scottish airports. And underneath we should have the words, Scotland welcomes careful drivers. I mean, the naivety of Al-Qaeda trying to bring religious war to Glasgow. We're 400 years ahead of you guys. You've not even got a football team. There's a fallacy, isn't there, that baggage handler prevented hundreds of people from being horribly burned. These were Scottish people flying to Spain. People say it's good they didn't hit a fuel depot. I think it's good they didn't hit the queue coming out of duty free. They're going up like Hiroshima. British Army have got a big recruiting drive on in Scotland at the minute. Because that's what you need if you're fighting an unwinnable war in the desert. More ginger people. That's why they couldn't send Prince Harry. They couldn't afford the resources required to start developing Factor 60,000 sunblock. It's not always the friendliest place in the world, Scotland. I once saw an English guy in Glasgow trying to order a pint of lager and lime, and the barman went, "We don't do cocktails." We can't just be dour, negative bastards up there. John Logie Baird invented the TV, and when people came up to congratulate him, he went, "Aye, but there's fuck all on." We're looking forward to the Olympics in London. I'll take that as a no. They say the Olympics is going to rekindle English national pride. I mean, come on. For 9.2 billion, you could have written "fuck off Germany" onto the moon.
We're here to talk about relationships. Let's crack straight on with the first slide. Don't laugh at that. That's not meant to be funny, please. Let's not have another Folkestone on our hands, please. Making divorce work. Now, given that it is a rocky ride, an emotional roller coaster, I start off with a joke, ladies and gentlemen, just to loosen us up. Here it is. If you're going to get divorced, you have to be like the man in the toll booth. Why is that, Keith? Well, you have to be willing to accept, this is the joke, change. It's a zinger. When you divorce, there is sweeping change. Change is right across your life, in every area. One of the first things to change is the locks. You may please don't laugh at that, please. You may come home one day and find that your key no longer fits your wife's lock. Another man's key is fitting your wife's lock. And stop that! Stop it! Stop! I'm stamping on that. Riaz with a Z, please. Stop it. It's not that sort of a show. Well, I mean, it's not a show, is it? It's a talk. But it's not smutty. So you may come home and find that your key no longer fits the lock. Good. Yes, it can. And it can be very difficult to tell why a relationship is going to go wrong. Why is that? Well, I think it's because at the beginning of any relationship, when two people get together, there's always a sense of what? Hammersmith, at the beginning of a relationship, a sense of... Pardon? Worry. No. Anyone else? At the beginning of a relationship, a sense of... Foreboding. Foreboding is the wrong answer. Lust. No. Uncertainty. There's always a sense of uncertainty. A feeling of will they, won't they? And there's no way of... Please, Hammersmith, take it seriously. We're talking about emotions. A sense of will they, won't they? And there's no... Hammersmith, I will walk off the stage, please. There's no way of predicting when a couple get together whether or not the relationship will work. Will it last a long time? No. Not a chance in hell. Will they stick together? No. Will the marriage endure? Yes. Lee and Leslie. Now, Lee and Leslie are a lesson to us all. They've made a marriage work. So why is it then that when they can make a marriage work, so many others can't? Paul Simon said, there are 50 ways to leave your lover. 1. Hammersmith, time out. Please, start to take it seriously. 1. Slip out the back, Jack. 2. Make a new plan, Stan. And 48 others.
I was in France a couple of years ago. Had to stop to use the loo at a little service station by the road. I knew it wasn't going to be a 5-star experience from the moment I walked in there. The lady in the kiosk was eating a pig's trotter with her one remaining tooth. Like watching a chipmunk try to eat a piece of corn on the cob. I approached her, and of course, as a proud Remainer, I said to her in my best French, Où est le bug? She went, it's round the back. It is round the back. So I went round the back, and there it was, a little shed. I thought, here we go. And I opened the door. Voila! Squatty potty! Throw up, France. Anyway, there was nowhere else to go, so I had to go in. I had to use it. So I went in, and I closed the door, and it was brilliant, because somebody had attached a rope to the back of the door. So you could essentially abseil down into the squatting position. I mean, that is a Centre Parks activity right there, isn't it? You'd pay for that. Bungee jump, brilliant. I did notice I was getting a little bit more nervous as a traveller on recent flights I've taken. In your 20s, you don't care, do you? Like that, I'll live forever. I'll live forever, me. I'm going to live forever. As you get older, you start to really pay attention to the safety announcements on planes. It becomes more urgent. You're more aware of your own mortality. You know, they'll start the announcement. I will definitely pay attention, absolutely pay attention. The glasses go on, the headphones come off. Book goes down, notebook comes up. I'm like, oh. Last flight I was on, it got to that point, we've all heard it 1,000 times. We've all heard it 1,000 times. They put the little life jacket on, right? Put the little life jacket on, and she said, and of course, in the event of landing on water, there is a whistle to attract attention. In the event of landing on water, there is a whistle. A whistle to attract attention. Now, I think for the first time in my life, I really took in that whistle. The fabric of that whistle, if you will, the being of that whistle, the ergonomics of that whistle. There is a whistle to attract attention. My brain had the very helpful thought. It thought, well, if we have landed on water, we have essentially fallen out of the sky from 30 to 40,000 feet in a not insignificant metal tube that may or may not be on fire. If that hasn't attracted attention, if everybody in the surrounding area has managed not to notice, and you are then reliant on... I got this.
So I came to Britain in the early 80s. We were refugees long before it became fashionable. But my favourite immigrants are Polish people because they've properly confused old-fashioned racists. Have you seen them? They don't know what to do. What do we do? What do we say? They're immigrants, but they're white. I had this one bloke go, bloody Poles coming over here with their work ethic. Which isn't very politically correct, and I try so hard to be politically correct. Sometimes I take it too far. I was at a party recently and I said to my friend, have you met Steve? He's a really nice guy. My friend goes, which one's Steve? Steve was the only black guy in the room. I found myself going, Steve, yeah, he's over there. He's got blue jeans on, a grey T-shirt, sort of curly hair, and a Nigerian accent. And once I was performing at a comedy club and there was two black guys in the front row, like you two, but men and black. You are a man, sir, I'm sorry. It's the lights. And I said to them, so how do you two know each other? And they looked at each other and went, we don't. Might as well have had NF tattooed on my forehead. I didn't, it was felt tip. I like friendly, a little bit of friendly racism is nice. When I was a little girl, I used to always go to my friend Katie's house, and every time her dad opened the door, he'd go, hello, Shappi, been on holiday? So, I have a little boy, I have a baby boy, I'm a mum, and I'm looking at you, some of you are so young, I could be your mummy if I lived somewhere rural. Like a lot of women, I got to my 30s and I thought, I've got to have a baby now. Well, my mum's still young enough to look after it for me. And I went to all the antenatal classes, and this woman came up to me, one of the other mums goes, oh, how are you planning on losing your baby weight? And I was like, well, I was just thinking of having the child. And she was like, oh, I'm going to be a yummy mummy. I'm going to lose all my yummy mummy. That's just like a middle-class way of saying MILF. I was so happy when I found out that I was pregnant. And we had a scan and we knew that it was a boy. And people said to me, why did you find out the sex of your baby? Didn't you want a surprise? Well, it's going to be a boy or a girl, do you know what I mean? The only surprise would have been if it was a puppy. And there are no puppies in my family. There's one goat, it's not a blood relation. Thank goodness I have a child now. It was no fun being a broody Iranian woman. Every time I said to people, my body clock's ticking, they'd hit the ground. So with all that going on, when I did find out I was pregnant, I was so delighted. I thought, I am going to fill this child's life up with love and hope and understanding. My husband's reaction was slightly different. He walked around going, woohoo! My soldiers worked! It's not his. Oh, the fuss he made when he found out I was cheating on him. Only child. Can't share. My husband's English, he's from Nottingham, and a lot of people ask me if my husband's Iranian, and I go, well, he's not, he's English, but he's planning to convert. His family are absolutely lovely, and when they first met me, they kept going, oh, Shappi's so exotic, she's so exotic, which means foreign, but not in a way that we hate.
I think often a lot of people don't realise there's an actual person behind somebody's disability. And I experienced this, right, firsthand when I got lost in a park in Glasgow. I came off the path. I was in the bushes. Right, looking like a proper creepy weirdo. And I heard this guy aggressively running over at me, shouting, "Oi, you!" And I turned to face him. And he stopped dead in his tracks, went, "Oh, sorry, pal. Didn't see the stick. Thought you were a pest." You do know that's a pig guy. Yes. People only see my disability. I should see how much I can get away with. Do you know what I mean? Like, how much of a blind wronging can I be? Just go into a supermarket, blatantly shoplift a coat. I get busted trying to leave through the plate glass window again. Security guard. "Excuse me, sir, is that your coat?" I say, "Yes, do you mind taking the security tag off it?" "Certainly, sir. Can I just see your receipt?" Right. Big innocent face. Hand him a blank bit of bog roll. I bet he's not got the heart to say anything apart from, "Right, that's fine, have a nice day." But I still maintain, no, it is an excellent time to be disabled. In fact, now, in some areas, too good. To the point, I'd like to finish this evening by asking you lovely people of the Apollo a favour. Could you please stop modifying sport so I can take part? It's now getting harder and harder to moan about being excluded when I am always being made to feel so very welcome. Not everything has to be accessible. There's a message. Being blind's a brilliant reason not to have to do something. Because this guy asked me if I wanted to take part in a game of football. You cheeky bastard. Oh, I'm going to guilt trip you, my friend. I'd love to take part in a game of football, yes, but I just don't think the blind man's that welcome in the hallowed turf. Not realising blind football is an established sport. What sick prick came up with that? 22 blind lads running like fuck at each other. They're trying to kick a ball with a bell in it. Guys, that's not accessible. That's a blood sport. And who goes to see it? But I did. I played my part. I took part in one game. Yeah, they put me in goals. But I learned one thing. Like, in flight, a ball with a bell in it is silent.
But I think women should just let it out. It's a big day in a girl's life when she can freely let rip in front of her bloke. It is. I think women should be having I farted in front of my boyfriend for the first time parties. I do. I think they should be ringing up their mums, just going, "Mum, I've got something to tell you." "Oh, darling, what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it?" "I just did a fart in front of Tom." "Oh, darling, that's wonderful news, wonderful news." "And what did he say?" "He didn't say anything. He just laughed and farted back." My little girl's all grown up. Meanwhile, Dad will be in the background just going, women are farting far too early in front of their boyfriends these days. It was 18 months before your mother even trumped in my direction. 6 months before she'd take a dump in the house when I was around. Yes. And also, I'll tell you something else we pretend as well. We keep the lady garden quite tidy, us girls, don't we, in the early stages? We will do little tricks with it. Look, it's the strip, it's the Brazilian. Oh, look, I put a hat on it, it's the Mexican. Like we do. We do all that in the early stages, and then after about a year, it looks like the back of the wardrobe that leads to Narnia. Well, if he wants it, he's gonna have to work for it. People say to me, Andy, you could try meeting people in a nightclub. You'll never meet anyone good in a nightclub because the nightclub environment is designed to have us make bad decisions. It is because it's dark, you can't see, you can't hear. You know what, if nightclubs want to be responsible, what they should do to help us out is just before the exit, they should have a brightly lit room where you can check out the person you're leaving with. Yes, they should. They should call it, have a sodding word with yourself lounge. And you'd literally get women in there just going, oh my God, you're wearing a fleece. I couldn't tell because it's so dark in there. Okay, nice to meet you. But listen, if you meet somebody online, all I'm going to say is there's some safety things to take into consideration. Now, I met somebody through Twitter, just the once. I'll never do it again. And it was the most irresponsible thing I think I've ever done. And I spoke to a friend about it before we met up, and I said, listen, I've met this guy, and we seem to really like each other, and we're talking about meeting up. What do you reckon? Should I meet him? And before my mate even had a chance to say anything, I said, you know what? I am going to meet this guy. You know why? Because life's too short. And my mate just went, yeah, you're going to find out how short. And my mum says, she says, look, if you go on these dates, make sure you meet in a public place, okay? And I'm just going to add something to that. Public place, brill. Public house, excellent. Public toilet. Never meet in a public toilet. No good can come of it. Unless it's, you know them space-age toilets that they have outside, where you put the money in, press the button, and then the door opens. You know why? Because you can pretend it's blind date. How cool is that? You just put the money in, press the button. And if you don't like it, just press the button really quickly. I don't know why, like, young couples, new couples have got this obsession with finding out how many people someone's been out with from before. Like, how many previous partners? This is a lose-lose situation, right? And if any of you have ever had that conversation or you think it's ever going to come up, this is what I say. This is what you should say, okay? Just say to the person that's asked you, you want to know how many previous partners? Okay, I'll tell you from the beginning, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, you, 6, 7...
One of the major good things that's come out of it is how we've embraced new technology, isn't it? Because it's just unbelievable. Who knew what Zoom was 2 years ago? None of us. Like last week, I had to do a speed awareness course online. Now, you should be doing that on something called Zoom, but that's the world we're in now. It's the world we're in. I've got a phone that can recognise my face. That already makes it better than my nan. Come on! I embrace new technology. I do, because could you imagine if this pandemic had happened like 30 years ago? No internet, no Zoom, no Pornhub. I don't know why I looked at you, sir, but I did. Because I think we've forgotten, here in 2021, we've forgotten what really being bored feels like. Like proper bored. My friend's little boy said the other day he gets bored waiting for an app to load. Fuck off, mate. That is not boredom, is it? I'm talking Sunday afternoon in the 80s. That was boredom. When it was raining, you'd read every book in the house. I grew up in Maidstone. That's a Mills and Boon and an Argos catalogue. Your mum's watching something black and white on the only telly in the house, so you listen to your Walkman for a bit, but the batteries are dying, so Madonna's Like a Virgin sounds like Barry White singing it. You know? You can't go and buy more batteries, can you? You can't, because all the shops are shut. And I mean, all the shops are shut, even the petrol stations are shut, and then when you think your day can't get any more tedious, your dad would go, get in the car, everyone, we're going to go and visit someone. That's what we do, isn't it? On a Sunday afternoon in the 80s, we would visit people for no reason other than to ruin their day. Do you know what? Young people don't believe this when you tell them. We never told them we were coming. Could you imagine doing that to someone today? They'd be livid, wouldn't they? We used to spend every Sunday with people wishing that they'd hoovered and we'd fuck off, didn't we? Aren't they? The only people who phoned ahead in the 1980s were the IRA. Fact. I wouldn't be a teenager now, though, would you? I wouldn't be a teenager now. When I think of the things I did when I was a teenager, the thought of that being on the internet forever makes me feel physically sick. It does. The way they have to communicate with each other is something I just can't understand. You know, sexting. I couldn't write a sext. I don't know what to put in a birthday card. When I was a teenager, if I wanted to leave a sexy message for a boy, I'd have to ring his landline and leave a message with his mum. You're into what, dear? All over your what? Different times, isn't it? Different times. There was a boy I fancied at school. I couldn't text him to write him a note, stick it in his school bag. And I'd make him a mixtape. Write him a poem. That's all we had, didn't we? I genuinely think a 14-year-old girl today, she would be more freaked out if you sent her a poem than if you sent her a picture of your knob. A poem would freak her out more. She'd be with her friends going, I mean, it was like a song, but it wasn't a song. And there was no cock in it. Not even a bollock, no. Different times, you know. Apparently, young people today, they are most likely now to have their very first sexual experience online. Via FaceTime or Skype. They're not even in the same room. You've got one teenager in this house on their phone and the other teenager in this house on their phone, and that's how they're having their first sexual experience. And I just think, do you know what? Getting fingered behind a caravan at a fairground is not ideal. But at least I was getting some fresh air.
My parents are disappointed I didn't get married because, like I said, I'm Egyptian. I'm in my 40s, so I was supposed to be married 30 years ago. So they're like, tick-tock. When's this happening? But they don't understand dating. My parents didn't date. They were in arranged marriage. They met on The Bachelor season 3, I think. They don't get that joke or anything I do, but I was supposed to be a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, which is pretty typical for Arabs, actually. Like, I went to Palestine once to do comedy there because that's what that region needs, just dick jokes. So thought I'd help. And after the show, there was a Q&A, and somebody in the audience was like, why did you decide to become a comedian? And as a joke, I was like, oh, I wasn't smart enough to be a doctor. But they didn't get it. They were like, oh, I'm sorry. Maybe if you study harder, you can do it. I was like, yeah, definitely. This is a lifelong dream. That's all right. My dad thinks I'm his responsibility until I'm my husband's responsibility. But at no point am I to be my own responsibility, right? Like, the women in my culture need a chaperone through life. Like, we just don't have the same rights as the men. Because my dad wanted to move from Cairo to America, so he just moved. You're a man, bye. Right? My mom wanted to move from Cairo to America, and they were like, well, let's find you a husband in America. And that's how they met. 3 of my aunts became nuns. That's a lot of nuns for one family. And I was like, Mom, why did all your sisters become nuns? She was like, because they didn't want to get married. And then she caught herself. She's like, because they love God. I was like, no, I knew it. They saw their options. Meet Samir. He doesn't know how to do his own laundry, and he has hummus in his beard right now. You can have sex with him every night, or meet God. The only thing you have to do on your knees is pray. And they were like, yep, God, that's perfect. Thank you. I love being in London because it's so close to the rest of Europe. I love to travel. I go to Paris. Tell my American friends I'm going to Paris. They get so excited for me. They're like, oh my God, Paris, we love that for you. We love Amelie. And I tell people here I'm going to Paris. You don't give a shit at all. All you ever say when I say I'm going there is, oh, cool, how are you getting there? Are you taking the train? Oh, the train's so great. You're going to love the train. Like, cool. Every time. How are you getting there? You taking the train? Oh, the train is so great. Like, so is Paris. Why can't I talk about Paris? What? Go to cafes and museums. I'm gonna see Jim Morrison's grave, and you're like, that's cool. How are you getting home, though? You taking the train? Train's so great. Like, it's a good train, relax. It's good to vomit on. And last time I was there, this Parisian man walks right up to me. He was like, you have fire. This is why I love the French. What a thing to say to a stranger. You have fire? Yeah, you're damn right I have fire, sir. Right? I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm a comedian. He didn't know any of this, but he must have just seen something in me, like my aura, and he had to come up and be like, you have fire. Turns out he was just looking for a lighter.
Cable was the more middle-class option. Yes, no, we don't want a satellite dish sticking out the side of our house. No, thank you. I think it looks really quite naff, yeah. Whereas the working class, the satellite dish was the key selling point. If you're paying £25 a month, you want your neighbours to know that you are better than them. And we had Sky through a dish, 1997. You could be watching old school Sky in the living room, watching it on the main TV, but you could also go upstairs to the bedroom TVs, turn to a certain channel and watch Sky in the bedroom, but only with the person in the living room was watching. I don't know the intrinsic technical explanation as to why this happened, but it just did. Saturday nights, me and my dad, I'm on the couch, he's in his chair, my mum's in bed, my brother's out with his pals, just me and the old man watching Match of the Day, watching the highlights. It gets to the kind of shite games, and I say, right, I think I'm going to go to bed, Dad. Good night. And he would continue the charade, and he'd say, "Are you off to bed, son?" Good night. And there was that mutual father and son, we both know what the plan is here. I would casually exit the living room nice and slowly. Good night. Hit the hallway and race up the stairs. Don't even consider looking in the fridge. Eyes on the prize. Upstairs, bedroom TV switched on. Go to number 6. That's when you see what he's watching. TVs are synchronised. 6. We're in. He's in control. A few minutes go by and he's still watching Match of the Day. That's fine. Well, he must be giving it a few minutes. You don't want to make it too obvious. He's done this before. 5 minutes go by. He's still watching Match of the Day. I'm thinking, come on, stick to the plan, Andi. I'm looking at the bottom left of the screen, waiting for the numbers to get typed in. The numbers that could make or break the evening's entertainment. Go on, give me your numbers, Andy, come on. 9, that's a good start, 9. Could not have hoped for a better start than a 9 there. 0, 5, the 10-minute preview. You're a dirty bastard, Dad, but I love you. So, we've got some celebrities in, as always, live at the Apollo. Who have we got? We've got the EastEnders cast. How are we doing, EastEnders? They're sitting right at the back. I don't mean the extras, I mean the real people. We're trying to get Phil Mitchell. No, where is he? He's up at King's Cross, dressed up as a ladyboy, trying to raise enough money to buy a pot noodle, isn't he?
Don't you think it's crazy that... Do you understand the technology for us to hear the pilot? I am actually utilizing it right now. This is the technology for us to hear the pilot. I don't know why we cannot hear. There's no other context where it's acceptable for us not to hear a person. Why are you muffling? if you were looking for an au pair for your kids and a person came over to your house and said, hey man, what's your experience with kids? And then they looked at you and went, like, you need to get out of my house, son. Weird things happen in airplanes. Weird things, like crazy things, bizarre things. Like, how bizarre would it be right now if someone walked in here and started selling us watches and perfume? Would that be the most bizarre thing? But it happens all the time in airplanes. No one's ever gone, huh, this is crazy. This is that English polite thing. Oh, I've already got one, yeah. I'm not looking at the moment, yeah. Not every airline should be selling watches, though. Like Ryanair, no business selling watches. You need to watch Ryanair, your flight's 7 hours late. And also, why am I buying a 400-pound watch on an 11-pound flight? This makes no sense. Yeah, being in London is cool. I like being in London. One of my favorite things to be in London, there's so much to do. I try to buy a ticket online to watch Wimbledon. Yeah, man. The Wimbledon final, I was like, I'm excited. Went online, it was £3,000. I was like, what? £3,000. Okay, I'm not saying I wouldn't pay £3,000, right? I'm not saying I won't pay £3,000 for a Champions League finals ticket. But I'm not paying £3,000 for a sport where someone is going to tell me, quiet, please. Are you out of your mind? For £3,000, there will be no quiet, please. For £3,000, I'm rubbing my nipples center court. Are you out of your mind? My brother, 3,000. Oh, it's a lot of money. 3,000. My brother, £3,000. For £3,000, I should be able to whisper some advice in Roger Federer's ear. 3,000. I should be able to walk into the court. Sorry, Roger. Come on, forearm. Let's work on that. Come on. My brother, around 3,000. For 3,000, I should be able to punch a ball boy in the face. For 3,000. Could be walking across, picking up a ball up. Uppercut him in the nose. He'll be so confused. What was that for? I'm like, no, it's part of the package. If you look carefully, I can kick you in the balls.
I was such a fat kid. My mother used to buy bathing suits with blowholes in them. It was just... But my parents... I don't want to go into my childhood here because it's wrong. My parents hated me, okay? We're all going to hear the story, aren't we? Well, my parents hated me too. My parents... All I ever heard growing up is, why can't you be like your cousin Sheila? Why can't you be like your cousin Sheila? Sheila had died at birth. They just... Whenever we would go, like, in front of a street, each parent would take my hand, hold our hand, we're crossing the street, and then they'd swing me into the traffic. They used to say, take candy from strangers. Ask the funny man in the raincoat, does he own a van? No, I had a very bad childhood, and that's because, and I'm sure none of you give a damn, but I was the only Jewish kid, this is the absolute truth, growing up in an all-Catholic neighborhood. You know what that's? The Irish people. Only Jewish kid in a Catholic neighborhood. You know what that's like? You were all doing Hail Marys, I was doing Hail Murrays. I mean, it was just... No Christmas tree? No Christmas tree. Do you know what that's like when you're the only kid without a Christmas? Because everybody has Christmas trees. And nowadays, it's like, well, we do it for all faiths. That's such bullshit. Yeah, we walk into an office building and there's a Christmas tree and there's a menorah. Bullshit. The Christmas tree goes up, 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 up. There's like a little shitty menorah with 2 orange lights that some angry Puerto Ricans lit backwards. I mean, yes. Juan, you lit those lights backwards. Fuck you, you killed our Lord. I mean, it is just... So, I'm at the age where I figure, screw it, I'm gonna have a Christmas tree. I got the biggest Christmas tree I got a 2-story high Christmas tree. I put everything you could think of on that. Up, 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 gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. On the bottom, I got the manger. I got the whole goddamn thing going there, the wise men, the sheep. And the only thing is, I have the baby, but I'm Jewish. I got him a nanny. It was just, oh yes. And I redressed Mary. She didn't look good. That stupid thing over her head, come on. I put her in a Chanel suit, Manolo Blahniks, and a Louis Vuitton pocketbook. You're the mother of God. Look it. It is just... Am I wrong? If she had looked like that, she would have gotten into the inn. Yes. The point is, it's about looks. Mary, she looked good. She would have done better. Mother Teresa, oh, don't give me, Mother Teresa, if she had looked better, she'd be a saint by now. Was she a bow wow? Yes. Did she need electrolysis? Let's talk to each other here. Even lepers were throwing their fingers at her. Here, get away. Because it is all about looks. This is my message, Great Britain. This is my message. Looks count. Education, looks count. I have no sex appeal, and it has screwed me up for life. Peeping Toms look in my window, pull down the shade. You have no idea. My gynecologist examines me by telephone. It is just...
I was on holiday recently. I was on an all-inclusive. We all love an all-inclusive holiday, don't we? Oh, aye. Chips and gateau for breakfast. Yes. I always think it's amazing. I can always identify where people are from on an all-inclusive holiday. It's fascinating for me. Like, the Italians, you can always tell the Italians because they could put on a bag of rags and look amazing. Then you can see the Germans, and they're quiet, and they're reserved. And then there's us, the British. That's interesting, isn't it? Because we all want to become pals with each other. I've had a pen pal in Woking for 25 years that I met in Lanzarote. But it was a really, really interesting for me because there's a way I can always tell if someone is from the south of England on holiday. And it's I don't need to hear your accent, nothing. The way, number one, I will tell if you are from the south of England is it will be 9 o'clock at night. It's 28 degrees. The moon and the stars are out, and you come out wearing a wee jumper because it gets a bit chilly. It's 28 degrees, the moon's out, I'm Scottish, I'm like past the factor 50 hen. I do not trust the moon burn, get me the factor 50. Then there's another way I can always tell someone is from the south of England. You and I are on an all-inclusive holiday. We can eat as much as we want, and they will go to the bar and they will order a half pint. No, you can't order a half pint in Scotland. Next time you visit Scotland, try and order a half pint. That is one of the most tense conversations you will ever have. About 3 months ago, I went to a bar in my home city of Glasgow, and I says to the barman, can I have 2 pints of lager and a half pint of lager? And he looked at me, and he went, what was that? I said, it's 2 pints. He went, no, just the last one. I went, it's just a half pint of lager, mate. Hold on, come here, tell him. Just the last one. I mean, it's just a half pint of lager. Is that for you? It's for my pal. Ah. Are they on antibiotics? Are they pregnant? Would they like a colouring book and crayons with that?